In April, Coral Gables commissioners passed a resolution declaring principles of inclusion for people with autism and other special needs. City of Miami officials also followed suit and unanimously approved a similar autism resolution last week.
Anyone who wishes to be recorded no on 11 and 19, the item passed unanimously.
I think we really started something here, something really nice, and so many neighboring municipalities and the county have followed our footsteps. Miami-Dade County, City of Miami Beach, the Miami-Dade County League of Cities all passed similar resolutions.
I think there was a strong sentiment of the Commission to want to serve all of our residents. I think the principles of inclusion that Commissioner Keon had drafted with our former City Attorney Craig Lean, and we're proud of the fact that we have a program of inclusion. Regardless of what the special needs are, whether they're our seniors, our adults, or also if they're children, the fact that we have a duty and an ability to serve all of our families makes for a better city.
Basically means that the city holds itself to the standard that we will be inclusive, that we will do our best to provide an accommodation for any child that wants to participate in a city program. Aside from, of course, respecting and treating all individuals with disability or not with much respect.
H1 is a resolution of the City Commission of Coral Gables, Florida, declaring principles of inclusion for individuals with autism and other special needs and urging action in the national.
There's no requirement to go above and beyond those standards, but we absolutely go above and beyond because it's something we feel is the right thing to do. Not because the law requires it, but because our conscience requires it.
For us, we were kind of at that forefront of that movement. It was a joint effort in the city, but I think Parks and Recreation is a key component of that. Without the inclusion into our recreation and our park facilities, then I'm not sure how that movement moves forward. So I think we're a good building block. Now there's a lot of differences from 3 years ago when we started the program to where we are now. From that movement, you have to move forward. That's where we started to establish our program. Our programming, which included staffing. It included program directives, and it included kind of a plan and a focus to meet a goal down the line.
And we now have 3 special programs that are not just about inclusivity in a regular program, but they're specialized programs. In addition to helping in every way we can, Parks Department has hired someone to really focus on these efforts. And she is disabled herself, and she's been an amazing advocate for the city in this effort and an amazing advocate for people with disabilities.
My name is Erica Kopkin, and I'm the Special Populations Coordinator for the City of Coral Gables. I've been working here since May of 2017. We have provided services for more than 30 children in the city. We've been lucky to work with a lot of kids who have autism, which is fun. And then for our after-school program, our club play, we have a lot of children with like ADHD and stuff, so we created a homework club. And we take them separate, so they're doing homework in a smaller environment, and we provide a little bit of extra support.
So what do you got there? 0 plus 0 is... Can we go back and check some of your answers? Then we go back and double check.
Usually 3 to 5 kids every week in different programs, sometimes at the youth center, sometimes at some of the other locations in the city. And we'd go on field trips with them, make sure the buses were accessible for a participant at one point. We've done gymnastics with a little girl who had CP. We've done all kinds of sports. We've played soccer, baseball, football. All of them are extraordinary. The parents come in and they're so used to fighting for their kids that sometimes it takes a little while to convince them that they don't have to fight me. They come in and they're just ready to fight. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna give you what you need. We just want you here. We want your kid to be able to play. You don't have to fight for accommodations here.
You know, a lot of times when a parent comes to you and they have to face the fact and they have to tell you that their child may have a disability and may need accommodations, it's very hard for them to first come forward. It's very uncomfortable. They feel like they might get rejected, that their child won't have a place in your program or in your facility. So having somebody that themselves has a disability opens that first door, that first step, so they understand, they can empathize with that parent, with that child, because they know what it's like. And Erica is deaf and hard of hearing. She is a tremendous asset because she herself has a disability.
This has been the most inclusive and just wonderful experience. I don't use the phone at all. So applying for jobs when you don't have a number to call back is almost impossible. I almost get no response. And this has been a very unique experience. It's not like everywhere else. And I like seeing the city welcoming to me and welcoming to my children and the program, and this isn't happening everywhere else. And it's really, really special, and it's cool to be a part of. I think Coral Gables is setting an example for everybody. I'd like to see this, reach other cities and reach other municipalities and be a model for other cities to follow, because it's incredible to be a part of a city that says, we want you here and we're going to figure it out.
Has cerebral palsy. She suffered a stroke on the second day she was born. It was massive, the brain damage. So all her muscles are impacted. She's 8 years old. She's one of 3. I have triplets. And one of my other triplets is very athletic. So I enrolled my daughter, Maria Elena. And when we started going, Maria Manuela asked that she also wanted to do gymnastics.
Having her, this participant, go from a wheelchair to participate in a gymnastics program was unthinkable. The parent knows that child is not going to be a gymnast, but that child's going to have a great experience. They're going to be included in the other participants. And now we're adapting the program for another individual. And again, we're not physical therapists. We don't provide therapy, but we can do things where they can still be included in the program.
And I was ready to do it myself. Like I can, turn her and make her jump in the jumping beds. I can make her hang. But then I was so happy when there were people to help me with it. And furthermore, at the program they said, well, no, we don't need you. We want you to just sit down and enjoy the class. So that was amazing.
Having that conversation with the parents saying it may or may not work, but we're going to try. We're going to see how it goes. And then seeing the progress, because from the very beginning, it required both of these individuals to be dedicated to this child, to try and assist to lift her, to try and accommodate her in the program. So now we're putting 2 staff members on 1 participant. And that's a difficult resource to provide. It's not something that we can do on a regular basis, but we wanted to give it a try. And we have that dedicated staff that's going to take on that challenge, even though everybody says you can't do it.
She loved it. She felt so happy that she can do what other little girls do, and that I think she understands that there are no limits for her. The limits are in our heads, and it's all about enjoying what you do, however you can do it. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey itself. And she had a wonderful journey there. She made friends and she laughed. She felt very proud every time she did a cartwheel or she hung from the bars.
Before, they were told no, they could not do that. They could not bring a shadow in. We could not provide additional assistance. So we challenged it. Our office challenged it and worked with creating that type of approval, creating that type of scenario. And instead, once we stopped and we looked at what are the impediments to making that happen, we realized they were so achievable that we just needed to remove them.
And she could follow the entire program in a modified way. and it has been amazing. I couldn't believe the program.
James is 10 years old, and he falls on the autism spectrum disorder. And he was diagnosed with autism at age 2. And when he was 7 years old, which was 3 years ago, he went to his first camp in the City of Coral Gables, which was the Smash and Splash. And he ended up having an absolutely wonderful summer. All the kids were very accepting of James and his shortcomings, his challenges. And it wasn't like he was ostracized. They were all very supportive. They say hi to him. They go out of their way to high-five him. And so I think when kids had that experience at a much younger age, they become much more accepting. And they become, I think, much broader as people as they grow up. Last summer, we got introduced to Erica Kofkin, who was hired by the city to coordinate the special populations, and it was amazing. It was, from our standpoint, a real game changer because we were now able to enroll James in a number of the after-school programs that the city has. We were always a little apprehensive about signing James up for those because we didn't want him to get lost within his neurotypical peers. But Erica and her staff were able to provide accommodations for a number of different programs. We feel very lucky because the city is not just a great city to live in, but it has an amazing recreation program. And the city has always been accommodating, but I think that with the new special populations coordinator on board, it's really going to take it to a new level. And it's one of the best things for parents because when you're dealing with a child with intellectual disabilities like autism, life is a lot more than just therapy. Kids want to be kids.
I've had the opportunity to live in 5 or 6 different areas, and by far this is the best program we've ever been a part of. I've lived in Atlanta, I've lived in Montreal, I've lived in Seattle, I've lived in Detroit, and really this is the number one that we've actually been to that is that inclusive and that effective in integrating kids that have some special needs. He really feels more comfortable being in a group setting, and I think that's really due in large part to all of the resources and the staff that works with him so closely when he gets in that inclusive setting.
Nice! Get the ball, Blake, get it! Go, boys! Nice, Blake!
But what's also important is it is not only related to Coral Gables as a government, it's Coral Gables as a community. If you look at what's happening at the Coral Gables Art Cinema or the Miracle Theater, they offer art sensory programming so that lighting and sound is shifted so that it is more comfortable for some of our families with special needs. That hadn't happened before. The awareness, the opportunity, putting that challenge out there and having people embrace it, I think that is as exciting as what the city is doing itself.
And then we've also created a specialized music program, which is set up as reverse inclusion. So we targeted children with disabilities and then opened it up to all children.
My name's John Heckel. I started working as the Special Populations Counselor for the City of Coral Gables in May of 2017. Well, my undergraduate was a Bachelor of Music, and I also did pre-med thinking I wanted to be a doctor. However, I came across this combination, music therapy, of music and medicine, behavioral medicine, psychology, all these things coming together, and so that's really where I found my passion. It's just been a really rewarding experience. It hasn't been like anything I've ever done before. I love coming into work every day, and it's really just rejuvenating to get to interact with all the kids, and our role especially is really great because we get to help kids who don't usually have the opportunity to interact with other kids and have these social experiences, recreational experiences, we get to help them have those experiences and make their lives better.
It's that catching, excitement. It's that individual, Craig, who would tell me how much it meant to him, and that is catching because I knew how important this is. I knew how important speaking to those family members and learning from them things that we could do differently. And we're learning, and as part of our curriculum now, we have partnered up with another individual to provide training, and we're going to include that in our annual council orientation. So all our staff is going to get a training on autism awareness.
Every person at every level of city government, from the city commission to the city manager, are committed to this principle. For these particular specialized programs, there may be an enrollment fee for the child to participate, but the city is absolutely behind the idea of staffing and whatever other public expenditures we need to make, because we do believe that this has a public purpose, that including all sorts of individuals is really a benefit to our public.
Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road.
How much is 10 pennies worth? That makes sense.
Although this way is stringing us along,
Okay, you picked a heaven.
Has to stay there.
just know you're not alone. I'm gonna make this place your home.
Yeah, stay on in forever.
So down, it'll all be clear.
Oliver, go to your side. Oliver, go back to your side.
Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble, it might track you down. You get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. I'm gonna make this place your home. Ooh.